All righty. Well, let's go to the next match because it's of great importance. Of course, we're coming up on a big pay-per-view where the world champion will defend his title against Samoa Joe. So we're going to have the world champion against Samoa Joe's henchman, Powerhouse Hobbs, in a Falls Count Anywhere match. But everything on the show is a gimmick, but instead of just having, they can just have a match and we can sell the pay-per-view. It's Falls Count Anywhere. And again, when you look at these two and you see it visually in a sane world, Hobbs would be the star and Page would be the guy, local guy with a book to put him over. But instead, so by the first break, they were up in the stands, the trash cans, the table, up into the bleachers. It's the same shit that everybody does, and they don't have room to do a lot. And it is what it is. And finally, they were fighting on the top of there's a breezeway to go out to the concourse or whatever, and then the seats are on 10. They're fighting on the ledge above that, right? And then they've got a special effects spot planned, but did you hear Shivani blow the fucking thing anyway?
He was driving me crazy all night. What did he say specifically here?
He blew it because Hobbs is on the edge and Page is leaned back, but he's about 10 feet away and he's pulling his boot off. And Shivani already says, Page gets a running start. He hadn't started yet. And then when he gets the boot and he takes a step, Shivani repeats it. So it's obviously the line, oh, the way we're going to finish this is Page going to get a running start and hit him with the boot. And so he called it before he ran. Then he called it again. Then Page hits Hobbs, but Page is trying to go down those steps and it's dark up there and he's trying to figure out how to not to really knock this guy off and kill him. So the running start turned it out to be a little stutter step and boom, he hits him with the boot. And Hobbs then turns and looks over his shoulder because these guys aren't stunt men. This is fucking stupid. And stunt men don't do it live in one take where it's supposed to look real in front of the fucking people going to the movie. But Hobbs looks over and he falls off and covers up. And right before he hits the table that he's going to fall on, the special effects sparklers blow off. And then he lands on the table and then a case comes down on top of him and it's the electrical table and he's been electrocuted. We've actually had an electrocution. But if you go back and because I said, wait a minute. If you go back and you frame by frame it, right before he hits the table, they blew the thing off that was buried back where it wouldn't like blow up underneath him and set him on fire. They saved that for the next match. But nevertheless, and then Page goes down and covers him and the referee counts 1, 2, 3 after he's been electrocuted. The fuck? Comments before we go to the afterbirth.
Who knows if the good boots would have helped with the electrocution. It seems like an interesting choice of a kind of match to have on a show with two gigantic gimmick matches that both went over 45 minutes. Like, this was the buffer. This is one of those little things that's probably always been there, but this was the night it drove me crazy. Adam Page's necklace. Like, it's just so big and obvious. Why doesn't the heel just take him by the fucking necklace? Like, it's so gigantic on him when you're watching this. Other than that, I didn't notice the pyro going off early. Again, you went frame by frame. I didn't notice it when I watched it. I went back and watched it a second time.
It's like a half a second, but it was a rib because it was like it came from underneath the deal, not whatever. So then we're not done yet, folks. After he covers him 1, 2, 3, then here comes Shapoopy, and he gets in a fight with Paige. And then here comes Samoa Joe, and he gets in a fight with Paige. And then they throw him in the ring, and they've got him cornered, and the cage is being lowered. How? By who? Samoa Joe and Shapoopy and Hobbs. Well, Hobbs has been electrocuted. So he's goddamn not. Who's doing this on his behalf? And they're trying to, the cage is moving like a fucking 90-year-old man in a soup line. And they're trying, oh my God, he's going to be trapped. And then outruns Kingston and Hook, and they roll in and chase the heels off. And then the cage lowers, and now he's trapped in the cage, but with his friends. So he narrowly, by like 45 seconds, avoided disaster because who was lowering the cage?
Ole Anderson apparently got the controls to help the Four Horsemen. Now, of course, that was Capital Combat. I don't know. I was wondering the same thing. Why is the cage being lowered here? That was never explained. The announcers really didn't seem overly worried about like who's doing that or why is it happening. Just that it was happening.
Yes. Oh, the cage is coming down. They'd better get out of the way. Well, what does this happen intermittently? Is it like something we should be on the lookout for?
Because we didn't even know about at least I didn't realize it was going to be a promo segment next. So I'm thinking, okay, they're lowering it for War Games, even though these guys are in the ring. But that wasn't even it. The cage went back up.
Yeah. When they were done with it. So anyway, at that point, Paige gets on the microphone and says, if you wanted me in a cage, all you had to do was ask. So, because apparently he makes his own matches. So at Full Gear, it's a cage match. 10 days away, they've just made a cage match for their world title match, one guy against one guy in one ring. When on free television, we're seeing, as I mentioned earlier, 20 people in 2 rings and 2 cages and 2 different fucking matches, and all of them are goddamn bleeding like they've been run through a razor blade factory. So why do I want to pay $50 to see this thing here, Brian?
And why did Joe act worried? How does that make sense? Samoa Joe, the one thing he's going to be afraid of is a steel cage match with Adam Page? We just saw that they can go up and down willy-nilly.
Yes.
Yeah, it seemed like a bit mud. They're trying to manufacture like a feud while the feud is happening. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's done well. But yeah,
well, but at least the
segment. And I hope Powerhouse Hobbs is alive.
Well, we'll get an update on him from the Duke Energy soon.